Can I be honest with you? I used to think my job as a leader was to be the leader, to have all the answers, to fix the problems, to be in charge. I was wrong. My job as a leader is not to be the leader. My job as a leader is to build future leaders. And I realized this past week, we are not doing that. Not the way we need to be. We say we want to build future leaders, but every time there's a hard conversation, every time there's a problem to solve, it comes straight to the leaders of the school. Every time. And I had to ask myself, what kind of culture are we building? Are we building a culture where leadership is the goal? Or are we building a culture where people shy away from leadership because it's easier to just bring it to us? Hey, it's Doreen. Welcome back to ShiftMindsets, ShiftOutcomes, where mindset shifts, outcomes follow. Episode 1, The 3 Traps, the fixer, the mind reader, the protector. Your team can't outgrow your mindset. Your mindset is the ceiling. Episode 2, Leading when you're running on empty. Why burnout isn't weakness. My real day. I started an hour early. I'm in and out of meetings all day, speaking with teachers in between, prepping for the next meeting, emails that never stop. And by 3:30, my contractual day ends and I'm empty. Episode 3, From Job to Profession. A job focuses on clocking in and out, while a profession embodies all aspects of the workplace. Today, episode 4, Building a Culture Where Leadership is the Goal. Not a culture where we survive, a culture where we thrive. A culture where we are building future leaders who can problem solve and have hard conversations before they come to the leaders of the school. A culture where leadership is not something you shy away from. Leadership is the goal. If you lead people in a school, at work, at home, this one is going to challenge you because it challenged me. The sentence that blew up. I start an hour early. I'm in and out of meetings all day, speaking with teachers in between meetings, prepping for the next meeting, emails in the hallway, 4 minutes that feel like 30 seconds. A teacher came to me frustrated, overwhelmed, came for support. And I said, I just need you to handle this without me having to follow up. In my head, the story I was telling myself was, I'm being clear. I'm building independence. I'm empowering them to be a leader. I'm so busy. I'm in and out of meetings. I can't follow up on everything. I walked away thinking, good, clear, helpful. The other person left hurt, shoulders dropped, eyes changed, quiet. What I meant, I trust you. You got this. You are a leader. What they heard, you're too much. Leadership is not safe here. Same sentence, two completely different stories. The staff member who couldn't come to me. Then something else happened this past week that stopped me in my tracks. A staff member had a communication issue. A hard conversation they needed to have about communication, and they couldn't come to me to have it. They went around me, talked to everyone else, avoided me. My first thought was, why couldn't they come to me? I thought we had a good relationship. My door is always open. I'll be honest, that stung. I felt that in my chest. In that moment, I wasn't thinking like a leader building future leaders. I was thinking like a person who thought the connection was stronger than it was. I try to live out what we talked about in episode 3, embodying all aspects of the workplace, not just clocking in and clocking out. So in my mind, I was accessible. I was invested. So when someone doesn't come to you, you question everything. Then I caught myself and asked the 4-word question I'm teaching you today. What am I missing? Maybe the door is physically open, but does the culture feel open? Maybe I say I welcome hard conversations, but does my response in the past make people feel safe to have one with me? I assumed the relationship was solid enough to hold a hard truth, but did they feel the same? If we want to build future leaders who can problem solve and have hard conversations before they come to the leaders of the school, we have to ask a harder question first. Can they have a hard conversation with the leaders? Can they have one with me? If they can't come to me about a communication issue, then we haven't yet built a culture where leadership is the goal. We've built a culture where people go around instead of coming to. And that's on me to own. My job isn't just to be the leader. My job is to build a culture where future leaders feel safe to lead, even with me, especially with me. What I should have done in that moment is go to the staff member, not to ask, why didn't you come to me? But to say, I heard there was a communication issue and you didn't feel you could bring it to me. That tells me I have work to do on our culture. My goal is to build a culture where leadership is the goal, not something to shy away from. A culture where you can bring a hard conversation to me, even about communication, even when it's about me. What am I missing? What would have made it safe enough for you to come to me directly? I didn't do that in the moment. My initial story took over. And looking back, that was a missed opportunity to build a future leader, to build culture. If our people can't come to us with the hard stuff, why would they feel equipped to have hard conversations with each other? How can we expect them to problem solve before it comes to us if they don't feel safe problem solving with us? We can't build a culture where leadership is the goal if leadership doesn't feel safe to practice. A thriving culture isn't a comfortable culture. A thriving culture is a truth-telling culture, where a staff member can say, we have a communication breakdown. without fear of being labeled difficult. Where leadership isn't a title to report to, it's a behavior we all practice. That moment taught me the next time someone doesn't come to me, instead of asking why they didn't, I need to ask myself, what in our culture made it feel unsafe to? And that question, what am I missing, has to come first. Why we don't have future leaders yet. Let me connect the dots, because this is where it all came together for me. I said, I just need you to handle this without me having to follow up. I thought I was building a leader, but the way I said it made leadership feel unsafe. Then a staff member had a communication issue and couldn't come to me. I thought we had a good relationship. My door is open, but they didn't feel safe to come. Same root problem. We say we want to build future leaders who can problem solve and have hard conversations before they come to the leaders of the school. We say we want leadership to be the goal, not something to shy away from. But look at what we are actually building. If I, as the leader, react from my story, I'm busy, I'm in and out of meetings, I start an hour early, I can't follow up. Without pausing, I teach my staff that leadership is about being too busy for people. That is not a culture that thrives. If our staff sees that every hard conversation has to come to us to get fixed, we teach them that they are not leaders. We teach them to go around, not to. We teach them to clock in and clock out. Job mindset from episode 3. Not embody all aspects of the workplace. Profession mindset. If a teacher can't have a hard conversation with me about communication, how can I expect them to have a hard conversation with a colleague about a student? How can I expect them to problem solve with a parent before it comes to the office? How can I expect them to step into leadership? We cannot expect future leaders to do what we have not modeled and what we have not made safe. Future leaders are not going to just appear because we put it in our school improvement plan. Future leaders are built, and they are built in the moments when communication breaks down. They are built when we show them how to pause and get curious before we react. They are built when we show them that a hard conversation doesn't have to be a scary conversation. They are built when we show them that leadership is not about having all the answers. Leadership is about having the courage to ask, what am I missing? Right now, in many schools, including mine, if I'm honest, we have a culture where leadership is something you shy away from because it's easier to let the principal handle it. It's safer to go around than to come to. It's easier to avoid the hard conversations than to have it. That is survival culture, not thriving culture. Thriving culture where leadership is the goal, sounds like this. We can handle hard things here. We can have hard conversations here with each other and with our leaders. We can disagree and still respect each other. We can problem solve before it goes to the office because we have the tools and we feel safe to use them. That is the culture I want to build, and I can't build it by just being the leader. I have to build it by building future leaders. The shift. What am I missing? I now use one 4-word question before I respond to anything hard. What am I missing? Not what are they missing? What am I missing? Before I said that sentence, if I had paused and asked, what am I missing? I would have realized they didn't come for a solution. They came for support. They are trying to be a leader and they are scared to mess it up. My clear felt like cold because they are already overwhelmed. If I want to build future leaders, I need to coach, not just direct. That question forces you to pause and get curious before you react. It moves you from assumption to curiosity, from fixer to builder of leaders. When you model, what am I missing? Your teachers start to model it with each other. Imagine if, before a hard conversation between two teachers, one paused and asked, what am I missing? Imagine if, before a hard conversation with a parent, a teacher paused and asked, what story is this parent telling themselves? This is how you build future leaders. Not by telling them to be leaders. You build future leaders by giving them a culture where leadership is safe to practice, where problem solving is taught, where hard conversations are not something to shy away from, but something we get to do because we are professionals who embody all aspects of this workplace. Your culture tool this week. Number 1, personal practice. The 3-second pause. Every hard conversation, in and out of meetings, speaking with teachers, prepping, emails. Pause for 3 seconds and silently ask, what am I missing? What story am I telling myself? What story might they be hearing? Then respond with curiosity, not reaction. 2, culture practice. Teach one person to have a hard conversation without you. Think of one teacher who came to you this year to fix something they could have handled with a colleague, with a parent, with a student. Go to them this week during your early hour or between meetings and say, I've been thinking about how we build future leaders here. I want our culture to be a place where we can problem solve and have hard conversations before it comes to the leaders of the school. Not because I don't want to help, but because I want us to thrive. And leadership is the goal here, not something to shy away from. Can I share a tool with you that helped me? Then teach them, what am I missing? When you do that, you are not just fixing a problem, you are building a future leader. You are building a culture where leadership thrives. We say we want to build future leaders. We say we want teachers who can problem solve and have hard conversations before they come to leaders. We say we want a culture where leadership is the goal, not something to shy away from. We say we want our culture to thrive. If we want that, we have to teach it. We have to model it in the hallway between meetings at 3:29 p.m. One pause, one curious question. What am I missing? Thanks for being here today, for being tired and still showing up to learn, for being willing to try a 3-minute reset in the middle of your crazy day, for being willing to look at a conversation you messed up and learn from it, for being willing to ask what you missed instead of why they didn't come to you, for being willing to build a culture where leadership thrives. Remember, you are not a machine. Your energy matters. You can come back to grounded one moment at a time. And you are building future leaders by how you handle hard conversations today. We don't have to shift everything today, just one mindset, one pause, one curious question. That one shift will shift our culture. I'm Doreen. This is Shift Mindsets, Shift Outcomes, where mindset shifts, outcomes follow. Where we build a culture where leadership is the goal. Leave a comment. What is one hard conversation you will handle with curiosity this week to build a future leader? And what will you do to make your culture feel safe enough for someone to come to you? See you next Sunday at 9 a.m.